Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Cryptid Cocktail Party, a show where we have a few drinks, share a few laughs, take a dive into the unknown. I'm your host, Dave, and today I'm joined by a very old friend, John Manning, aka Ging. How's it going, man?
Oh, it's going, man. You know, I'm alive. How you doing?
I'm doing just dandy. I'm alive as well, but my life was never in question. Yours was there for a hot minute, though. But no, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're doing good. It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
I can imagine. So, me and John Ging. Do you still go by Ging, or am I like fucking way in the past?
It depends on the company, honestly. Most of the time, people, friends like you, still go by Ging.
Yeah. In professional,
obviously work and everything.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So I've known you for probably it's got to be coming up close to almost 20 years.
I think so. Yeah, probably.
Kind of, right?
It's been a long time.
It's been a hot minute. But we haven't really spoken in a while. That's probably on me. I'm bad at being a friend.
Oh, dude, I am too. I think it's like the perfect collision of both of us sucking at it.
But we've also had one of those friendships where even if we haven't spoken in like a few years, like when we do get together, it's always been kind of like no time has ever really passed, I guess. A lot of shit's changed, but like the camaraderie I feel is there. That's why I'm really excited to do this. Now, gang, I do have one question for you, but before I ask that question, I just want to let you know that the other day at work, someone was telling me about a horror movie they watched, and they didn't tell me the name of it, but when they mentioned the scene where a girl opens the door and a zombie punches into her stomach and rips out a fetus, you were the first person. God. It was automaton transfusion, and I was 100% convinced that me and you were the only two people on Earth who had ever seen that movie.
Dude, totally. Oh my God. I forgot about that one. That was classic.
Oh yeah.
That was so weird.
Well, yeah, we used to hang out with all those Dimension Extreme films. Like they were so good.
Yeah. I
don't even think Dimension Extreme even like exists anymore as far as like cheesy B horror movies.
I don't think they do. And I've actually been working on taking all my DVDs and making them digital now on the computer.
Mm-hmm.
And oh man, going through some of those old titles, it's just absolutely bananas, the stuff we used to watch.
Well, dude, they told me about that movie, and I was like, all right, so there's this movie, because I think me and you watched Automaton Transfusion and this movie in the same day. Maybe not, but I told them about the movie Imprint, that Japanese horror movie.
Oh my God.
With the needles in the river of fetuses. I told them that.
My God.
They tried to tell me that sounds more fucked up than the punching of the zombie baby, and I was like, no, they're both equally as fucked up.
Oh, dude, totally. Oh man, Imprint. That was when I only watched once. I only watched that one time. I was like, I'm good.
Yeah. Well, that was like me in the movie. What was it?
Oh man.
That Kevin Smith horror. Oh, Tusk. I got Tusk. I watched it once, and I was like, I'll never watch this movie again. Not because like it was a bad movie, but because maybe it's like a weird, I'm not going to say empath thing, because I think that's a dumb thing to say, but like I just felt so bad for Justin Long that whole movie that I was like, I can't
right
watch it again. Emotionally, I couldn't watch it again. Oh shit.
No.
But yeah, I just want to let you know that someone brought up Automaton Transfusion, and I immediately thought of you. Because no one talks about it. I don't know
where you'd even find a copy of it.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
that's amazing.
It must be like on Shudder or something like that. Like it can't be on like any normal streaming service. At least I don't think so.
I gotta get a Shudder account. I had one a long time ago, and it seems like it's the best place to catch anything like that.
Well, someone lied to me. I think someone told me that I think Paramount Plus lied to me, because we got Paramount Plus through Amazon to watch. Mm-hmm. Why did we get it? Oh, we got it to watch Rise of the Pink Ladies, the Grease prequel TV show. And
oh, goodness.
It's really good. The songs are all bangers. But someone told me, or it said in the description, that you get automatic access to Shudder. And it didn't work. If they fucking lied to me, I didn't get any of that shit.
Oh, what?
I was so mad. I do. So back to that question I was going to ask you. So I know you're a horror guy. You're like a monsters guy, but are you like a cryptids paranormal person? I don't think we've ever really talked about it before. Like,
I mean, kind
of
a little bit. I'm skeptical, but a believer. I think it's never been like at the forefront of my knowledge or what have you, but always interested in it, you know?
Yeah. Is there any that you do believe in? Like if someone was like the Mothman, you'd be like, oh, I fucking believe wholeheartedly in that. Because there's some that I do and some that I just don't. I don't know if I believe in really any. I'm just open minded to it.
Yeah. I'm definitely, you know, skeptical of it, but I'd say there's a possibility, you know, the truth is out there type stuff, you know. There's definitely a possibility that it exists. There's but I don't know. I don't know if there's any that I'm like wholeheartedly believe.
Nothing you whole hog or just like, this is it. This is the one.
Yeah. No, it's kind of one of those like could be type situations, you know?
Well, I mean, we're still finding fucking shit that we thought were cryptids that like, dude, the fucking gorilla used to be a cryptid, the platypus. But anyways, we're getting off topic. All right. Ging. Now, just like every other episode, you don't know what we're going to be talking about today, right?
No okay. Clue.
I'm really excited about this one. It's not,
oh God.
it's not really a cryptid. I don't think. I don't know what you would describe it as. We'll get into it, but we're going to go back in time first of all. Then we're going to go across the pond. We're not doing American today. So our story today takes us all the way back to 1800s London, which at the time it was the largest city, largest port, and largest financial center in the world. It was also pretty fucking disgusting. The air was thick with sooty fogs from the numerous factories. The Thames River, Thames, I don't know how to pronounce.
Thames? Like Thames?
The Thames River was pretty much like a moving sheet of just raw human sewage. And the streets were covered in mud, quote unquote, which was just a euphemism for like more shit. Street merchants and butchers would just throw scraps on the street. Pissing in public had become such a modern practice at the time that people started putting up urine deflectors in the corners of alleyways that would redirect the urine onto the person's shoes. It's kind of like a hostile architecture, but for like public urination. You know what I mean? It's like
nice.
It's like that kind of concept.
That's insane.
But disease and the constant stress of possibly stepping on a pile of like dead cat carcasses wasn't the only thing plaguing the city at this time. Something, or should I say someone, much more sinister was happening in and around London at the time. Reports of a well-dressed man seen stalking the streets of London, attacking young women and slashing at them with sharpened steel were being reported all around the city. And no, it's not Jack the Ripper, but something possibly not of this.
That was going to be my guess.
Yeah. But today we're going to be talking about the mustachioed, fire-breathing parkour king himself, Spring-Heeled Jack. Are you familiar at all with Spring-Heeled Jack?
No. I've heard the term.
Yeah.
But Spring-Heeled Jack, huh? Now this will be a new one for me.
All right. So Spring-Heeled Jack was considered, quote, the scariest boogeyman in all of Victorian England, and, quote, a fire-breathing devil man who could jump unnaturally high, like over walls, buildings, like a fire hydrant probably. He was described as tall and thin, with cold and clammy clawed hands. He was dressed in what witnesses described as a black coat, a skin-tight white garment, and for some reason, a helmet. He kind of looked like if like DC ever did like a Victorian era version of Batman or Daredevil. Like that's what the helmet kind of looked like.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm picturing like a Victorian Evel Knievel over here, you know.
kind of, yeah. But the most terrifying thing about him was his unnerving facial expression, in that where his eyes were just two large red glowing balls of fire. Now,
oh, wild.
Now, during the time of the sightings, which we'll get into like in a second, Spring-Heeled Jack's actions were, while still socially unacceptable at the time, they were considered nothing more than, quote, wicked pranks. Today, we would probably consider most of his actions as, quote, sexual assault and, quote, possibly murder. But no matter how you spin it, the dude was kind of a dickhead, if not kind of funny in a way, more so in the way that he escapes his encounters. All right, John. So are you ready to dive into the world of Spring-Heeled Jack?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now,
let's see what this is all about.
So the first reported sighting of good old Jack occurred in October of 1837 when a servant woman named Mary Stevens was returning to work one evening in Lavender Hill after visiting her parents when suddenly a caped figure leaped out from a dark alleyway. The figure grabbed her, attempted to give her one of the most aggressive smooches anyone's ever got, and then started clawing and scratching and tearing away at her clothes with what she described as a sharp metal claw. Now, luckily for Mary, sort of, I mean, it all seems fucking terrible and super unlucky no matter how you unpack it. Her screams caught the attention of passersby who came to help. Her assailant leaped and bounded over a wall in a building and then disappeared into the night. The Good Samaritans attempted to look for Mary's attacker, but seems Spring Heel Jack slipped away, never to be caught. The next day, this imperial-aged kangaroo man jumped in front of a moving carriage, causing the driver to swerve and then crash, and then witnesses both in the carriage and on the street claim that Jack let out a bone-chilling high-pitched cackle before doing a standing leap over a 9-foot wall. So, you know,
really?
Dude, he's like a cartoon villain. Like, it's...
That's all I'm picturing. It's
just like
some Babadook looking guy just jumping around like crazy. That's insane.
Dude, this motherfucker, like, he just doesn't walk. It's wild. But
yeah, just jumps around and that's insane.
Now, sightings continued on like this throughout the rest of the year. But I mean, it was only October, so it's like a few months at best. But now, and the legend had pretty much already begun to like spread around. People started claiming that he could shapeshift now into like a wolf or a bear. I couldn't find any.
Oh, geez.
I couldn't find any of those stories. But in February of 1838, Jack did switch up his tactics because, like any good prankster, you got to adapt or people just won't fall for your ruses anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone's looking for a caped guy jumping around, so got to do something different.
Got to switch it up. Well, you want to know how he switched it up?
Let's hear it.
He switched it up by impersonating a police officer, which I gotta say is hilarious. Because on February 19th, 1838, a woman by the name of Jane Oslop was going about her evening when her doorbell rang. What is a doorbell in 1838? I'm assuming it's one of those ones that had like a little crank thing on it. Because they didn't have like electric doorbells.
Yeah.
Right? I read that and
I know.
All right. So I'm glad we're both on the same page.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been at that point. Yeah, maybe it's like some like string they pull and it, like rings a bell in the house or something.
Well, her doorbell rang and a man outside claiming to be a police officer was yelling that they had finally caught the dastardly devil known as Spring Heel Jack, but he needed a lantern, a candle, some sort of light source to better see the culprit, make a positive identification. When Jane opened the door, she said that the man immediately threw off his cloak and revealed what she described tight-fitting clothes that resembled oilskin and also a, quote, most hideous and frightful appearance. Jack then proceeded to attack Jane, breathing blue and white flames into her face while clawing at her skin and clothes with his sharp metallic fingers. Jane's blood-curdling screams were loud enough for Jane's sister to hear, and luckily she made it in time to scare off Jack before any like real harm could be done. Physically, I mean, I'm sure emotionally and mentally that was probably super fucked up.
I mean, you did breathe fire in her face, so.
Yeah. But there's a fun follow-up to this story. After Jane's sister was able to scare Jack away, a man by the name of Thomas Milbank was actually arrested and then tried for this attack on Jane. But Jane was so insistent that her attacker could breathe fire that Thomas didn't get convicted and was set free. It's so good.
Nice.
All right. Well, where we at?
Because he couldn't breathe fire.
Right. That's wild. I mean, but hey.
Okay.
So where are we at right now, Ging? How you feeling about Jack the? Almost said Jack the Ripper, Spring Heel Jack.
I mean, I don't know. I'm a bit skeptical. Some fire-breathing guy jumping around town, but I like it.
You're not all in on Spring Heel Jack right now?
No, not necessarily. He's
all right. Well,
seems a bit
far-fetched. Well, maybe this next story will change your mind on this. Now,
all right.
Just a little over a week after this attack, another woman, 18-year-old Lucy Scales, and her sister were walking home that evening from visiting their brother. While in the area of Limehouse, the pair passed a finely dressed man in a cloak who was posted up on a wall. All like cool, like I'm assuming, like a Marlboro Man, I'm assuming, kind of like arms crossed, one leg down, one leg up kind of thing. At least in my head, that's what I picture. Now, as it got closer, Scales noticed his eyes were glowing red, and then he breathed blue and white flames in her face, blinding her and then causing her to seize. Her sister yelled for help, causing the attacker to flee, but this time he didn't like leap over trees or anything. He just kind of shuffled off down an alley. But now these two attacks happened closer to like downtown London. So their reports were more widely circulated than a lot of the others. And these women's testimonies are where we got like the Gentleman Jack description that you'll see if you look up any like artist rendering of Spring Hill Jack. He looks like a very well-dressed man with like a curly mustache, but like with like a devil horn helmet, like almost like a Loki helmet kind of thing. Really? I still don't understand the helmet.
Nice.
I guess if you're jumping super high into the air, you want to be careful, you know? It's all about head protection.
He's jumping over buildings, man.
No,
and the breathing fire thing, that's a little bit wild.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's got to be some reason behind it, or
we'll never figure it out. But we'll get to some theories as to what Jack could be.
Okay.
Sightings and attacks like this continued for a while. The Lord Mayor of London kind of shrugged off all the reports of a clawed red-eyed devil that could jump from roof to roof that was getting, all that stuff. But the police didn't. They surprisingly took it kind of seriously, which, I mean, for the time is kind of impressive. I feel like back then, the Bobbies in London was like, oh, right, get the fuck out of here yet. Or they'd blow. If it's like a woman coming out, they'd be like, oh, you're hysterical. You know what I mean? So it's kind of cool that they're taking it seriously.
Yeah. Right? I mean, they probably get like a ton of crime and a ton of like insane shit back then. So for them to actually care, that's pretty cool.
Well, maybe they're just bored of all the actual murder and they were like, this seems fun. Like, let's kind of look into this. One source I read even said that the Duke of Wellington, who at this time was almost 70, he even went out armed on horseback to try and shoot this thing. Which I kind of love.
Awesome.
Sightings and attacks continued even like 10, 15 years later into the 1850s and 60s all over England. Then in 1970, the citizens of Lincoln reported shooting Spring Hill Jack in the street, but he just laughed and then hopped away, jumping over fences and buildings. And in my head, I'm picturing this. He gets shot. He's jumping over the fences and buildings, but he's doing it backwards and just flipping them both off, like flipping them off with like both hands. Right. Just like, ha, 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 motherfucker. Also in my head, he talks like an old-timey Batman villain, like, see? Fuck you.
I looked up a couple pictures of him. Definitely looks like a guy who talks like that.
Right?
He definitely does.
See, Spring Hill Jack, coming to get ya. There's no way he doesn't talk like that.
Totally. Just looking at him. Oh, he's definitely some old timey like. Oh my God.
100%.
Amazing.
And so also during the 1970s, like in this little stretch, the fucking English army, like the British army, tried setting up traps to catch this like eldritch Tigger beast thing. And now this is after an incident that occurred in August of that year at Eldershot Barracks in Surrey. The story was that a guard on night watch stationed at the northern end of the camp, while keeping watch, he noticed a dark hooded figure out in the distance. As the figure moved, the sentry recalled that he could hear just the faintest sound of like metal clinking together, as if the hooded figure was wearing armor. As the guard yelled out like, "Hey, what the fuck you doing down there?" The hooded figure disappeared. The guard, doing his duty, turned around to alert the others when the figure reappeared, this time standing right next to him in the tower. The figure extended its hand towards the guard, who slapped it away, stating that the figured hand was like ice cold. The guard, who at this point I'm sure is just full on shitting himself, screamed, and he caught the attention of some of the other soldiers on the fort. Several of them came running to assist, but the Phantom took a running leap off of the guard tower, to the field below and took long leaping bounds across the field until he was out of sight. Over the next couple weeks, several of the soldiers claimed to have seen this hooded ghoul while on night watch. The fear of whatever this thing was became so real that the guards on the wall were given extra ammunition and told to pretty much just shoot anything that moved in the night. Just open fire. Needless to say, they never shot or trapped him, so it's whatever. But Spring-Heeled Jack was last seen for like the final time in 1904. And he didn't attack anyone. People just saw him bounding up and down the streets of Liverpool, jumping from street to rooftop, back to the street again, until he vanished into the night for one last time. Those are the sightings. Awesome. Before we dive into like what he could be, how did any of these make you believe more or less?
Still not convinced. I mean, my guess is there was a weirdo out there, and but it's weird that a lot of people do see the same things,
right?
Like the fire and stuff. So,
but I mean a lot of people see a lot of the same stuff, but also in America, everyone thought people were witches for like a hot minute. It could be an example of mass hysteria kind of thing, but who really knows? But it does get a little more interesting, and we'll get through some of these little theories before we wrap things up, I guess. So,
okay,
like you and a lot of listeners are probably like wondering, so who was Spring-Heeled Jack? Obviously, no one really knows, and there are a lot of theories. One being that Jack wasn't just one man, but was a group of bored aristocrats at the time, just trying to bring like some excitement into their lives, like at the expense of others. Kind of like those douchebag kids from the movie Funny Games. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
they're just so rich that they're like bored. You know what I mean? So they have to like,
they just want to do something.
Yeah, bring a little excitement into their mundane lives, which I mean, I kind of get. And this kind of actually ties into a theory that I have, which we'll get to at the end. Others think that he may be a literal demon, like something that escaped from an otherworldly realm, like some like trickster god type shit, almost kind of like a Loki. Like he's just going around fucking with people just because it's funny to him. But I don't know enough about trickster gods to like really make that assumption.
Yeah.
This one is a good one. Others claim he may be an alien, and
an alien.
Well, the reason for that being is that the reason why he's able to jump so high is because of the gravity strength on our planet versus the gravity strength on his planet. So if he has like a higher gravity on his planet, it's almost like a Superman kind of type thing, except for instead of the yellow sun being like, the gravity here isn't as strong as it is. So he's able to fucking just like, his leg muscles are just yoked. Okay. He's just fucking ripped.
He's used to like weighing like 500 pounds on his planet, so he can just...
He goes from weighing like 700 tons to like literally like 180. And he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Man, see, look, all right. Now, all right. Okay. Now, I have my own theory about him. Not who he is, but like so my theory is that he made his way to the Americas. And the reason why I think this is because a few months back, and I don't even know if I made this connection when I was doing it, but a few months back, I did an episode on Massachusetts folklore, which included a section of an entity known as the Provincetown Phantom, or the Devil of the Dunes, who in the 1930s and 1940s attacked and terrorized the citizens of Provincetown in almost like the exact same way, like exact same description, jumping, scaring, blue flames, like the whole deal. So...
Oh, really?
Who knows? You know, maybe he is some sort of like timeless being, but the aristocrat thing, kind of like if it was like a group of bored aristocrats in England who in like the 1800s, who's to say like in the 1900s they didn't come to America, you know what I mean? And like, he got bored, started doing the same fucking shit. Like, this is also a time of like innovation. Like they probably had some way to like shoot like a device that could shoot flame. Like maybe that's what the helmet was for. Maybe it was like a hidden, you know what I mean?
True.
So
true, or maybe they're just shooting flames around, not like breathing fire or something, and people are
like it
misconstruing things.
It might not be coming out of the mouth, but I feel like if you're in a state of panic, like you might assume it is, kind of thing.
Exactly. Especially with all the people saying it's happening, and then you see someone doing it, you might think, I could see that. I think the bored aristocrat thing's probably the most likely. And, as far as the America thing, maybe someone like heard the story and decided to copy it, or it's the same people just still fucking around like 30 years later.
Oh, it's almost 100 years later.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Sorry.
But he was still being seen, like, I'm assuming unaged up until the 1890s. So like, it could just be like, I don't know, maybe it's like this is such conspiracy theory about what I'm about to say, but like maybe it was like a group of aristocrats, but there's like a secret organization, like the Skull and Bones kind of thing, and they're just it's just like the Rotary Club or something. You know what I mean? Like they're just, but it's like a group of like weird pranksters who just assault women on the street. Doesn't sound like a fun prank, but it's no different than any YouTuber nowadays. So
yeah,
but
that's wild.
I do think that the aristocrat thing kind of tracks if it's happened, because it's literally the same thing in Provincetown. And like I said, I don't know if I made the connection. I might have made like a one-off comment saying it sounds like it, but that was before I did like full research into Spring Heel Jack.
Yeah,
I didn't know he breathed fire until I did the research.
Yeah, that's kind of a wild addition to just a guy like jumping around harassing ladies. Breathes fire. Apparently, he didn't really seem to hurt anyone with it, but.
Well, he said
probably
he made that woman have a seizure because of because the bright light.
That's true.
But I don't know if anyone died.
That's true.
Someone did. There was like a thing I read that he did kill someone. But again, when things like this happen with like the quote unquote mass hysteria, there are like always going to be like 4 or 5 like really credible, almost kind of like stories. Whether or not they're like true, they're just more credible. And then there are the ones that are like, he turned into a bear and mauled my dog to death. You know what I mean? Like, so you got to kind of weed out what might sound more plausible. Now, do I believe that there was a Rocky and Bullwinkle villain who could jump 90 feet in the air breathing fire? No. Do I believe that maybe it was some weird tinkerer aristocrat who just had like the ability to like, who had a pogo stick or something? You know what I mean? Like, there are possibilities, because if we know anything from watching CSI Miami, is that eyewitness testimony is very unreliable. But who knows?
Man, true.
I don't know.
True. Also, I mean, you're talking like 18th, 19th century London. I mean, I don't know what their forensics were like back then, but who knows? He could have killed people.
He could have. Maybe he was Jack the Ripper. I mean, they were kind of active at the same time.
Yeah, true.
Maybe he killed the Black Dahlia. When was that? I don't even know.
Maybe he's still around.
Wait, was the Black Dahlia wasn't Jack the Ripper, was it? No, that was
no. That was like early 20th century.
Dude, I don't even know anymore. I don't know anything.
Yeah. I don't know when that was.
All these gruesome stories just kind of all just mishmash into my head, and I don't know what's going on anymore. But yeah, so like I said, no one knows. Maybe he was an alien. Maybe he was a trickster god. I do like the idea of the trickster god. I think that's way more funny. Maybe he was a demon. I don't know. But anyways, gang, that is the story of Spring Heel Jack. How are you feeling about it? Do you have any theories of your own? Is there anything you want to?
I mean, yeah, I guess my best guess for him existing would probably be the bored aristocrat type guy or something, or someone who's just fucked up, some sort of like inventor / mental patient type person. I don't know. It could have happened.
The aristocrat thing does seem like the most plausible thing. I do like the idea of a group of aristocrats, because I feel like we've heard those stories before, but in real life. You know what I mean? Maybe not as like this, but like even like look at like the story of like Elizabeth Bathory. Like, she was technically an aristocrat, and she fucking bathed in the blood of fucking to be young again. Like, I'm not saying this is on the same level as that, but
no, but definitely still kind of fucked up, and it didn't. And like, it's not like he was like a mass murderer or anything. It seems like someone who is just like, I don't know, having some sort of sick good time, I guess.
Yeah, we're not condoning what he did. It was fucked up no matter what.
No.
But,
yeah, totally.
But what's fucked up is that every source I read is like, he was a trickster or a prankster. I'm like, he's full on assaulting these women. That's not fun. Right. Like, that's not a prank.
Right. Yeah, you can't really just chalk it up to, oh, he's just having a good time. It's like, it's kind of a pretty fucking terrible thing.
Every article was basically like, boys will be boys, am I right? You know, it's like, no, man, this is not good. And he wasn't a boy. He had a mustache that was twirled and everything. Like,
oh yeah, he was a pretty wonderful looking dude.
He was a full grown man. This isn't boys being boys. This is full on assault. But yeah.
No. Oh, totally. Yep. I don't know. I think could have happened. Definitely, probably not like lived 100 years. I imagine other people may have just done similar things, but
yeah,
you never know.
But it could be like one of those things, like maybe someone took on the mantle of, and then, because the Provincetown Phantom did say, people said he wore like a silver mask, but that could also be like the helmet kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. People back then were all fucking high on opium and then no one drank water. You couldn't drink water back then, so they're all fucked up from whiskey and beer. It was the only way to purify anything back then.
Just an entire country full of whiskey and opium, and
you never
you're
watch
gonna end up with stuff like that.
Any if you watch any period piece ever, no one's drinking water. It's wine, beer, or whiskey. They're probably just having withdrawals from fucking not having like, oh man, I didn't take my cocaine for my toothache this morning. Now I'm fucking flipping out.
Right. Oh,
all right, man. Well,
wild times.
I think that was a good story. I think that was fun, right? I think we did.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Yeah,
I like it. It was definitely interesting. Didn't really know much about this guy, and
I feel like no one really does.
Yeah.
I feel like the name gets, like, he was mentioned in an episode of the Jackie Chan Adventures, if you remember that show.
Oh,
the animated series.
That's a deep pull.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a coffee company called Spring Hill Jack Coffee, which makes really good coffee. So if you're into that, but yeah, he's kind of like a lesser known kind of guy, which is kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is I mean, that's pretty much what I try to do on the show. I save big hitters for like the big cryptids when I want to do like a multi-part series, but those get boring. And everyone gets hyped for the first episode. Then by the third one, they're like, I'm sick of fucking listening about the Mothman.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Do you want to plug anything? Like, do you want people to like follow you on Instagram or anything? Do you have an Instagram just for your 3D printing or anything like that?
No. I actually don't really post much of anything on Instagram. So no, I don't really have anything to plug. I'm just a normie, you know?
Well, sucks to suck, nerd. I don't know what to tell you.
Been fun.
All right. But yeah, so don't follow Ging on any social media, but you can follow us on Instagram at Cryptid Cocktail. Follow us on TikTok at Cryptid Cocktail Party. We have a Patreon. If you want to subscribe to it, it's $5 a month. I do not post on there ever, and I feel really bad for Mark, who is the one patron that I do have. I'm sorry. I will get to doing stuff. We also have a Discord server. It's very lonely in there. I'm talking to basically myself when I post in Discord. But yeah, with that, Ging, would you like to say goodbye to the audience?
Goodbye, everyone.